It's time for a Heroes of the Storm podcast for the rest of us. This is Dirty Casual.
Welcome to Dirty Casual, a Heroes of the Storm podcast for the rest of us, part of the Frozen Fox Radio Network. I'm your host, Argyle.
Bearcatte.
And Big Oakley.
Today, we got a lot of new news, just today, actually, and
Yes.
We're really excited to talk about it. In addition, we're going to talk about throwing and getting mad.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, yeah.
We're going to get upset, probably, just
don't
talking about this.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm tilting right now.
I'm already
I know
upset.
you guys are tilting right now, because somebody had some mad losing streaks this weekend, didn't
Oh
you?
that was
God,
bad.
it was so
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else experienced this, but like matchmaking. Okay, so Bearcatte was out of town this weekend, so Oakley and I took it upon ourselves to defend the Nexus. And when we were queuing together, and it wasn't like we were queuing together as anything unusual. I've been trying to get Lily to 10, so I can get the cool portrait for having both pandas to 10.
And I was just playing whatever it is I wanted to play,
Yeah, so
that's what I do.
Usually, like you were playing tank a couple times, assassin.
Tanks, assassins.
So like, okay, tank and healer. That should be like no brainer. You get a good team, you're good to go. Everyone plays assassin. That's all people play.
yeah,
like
because
Halo.
they're fun, and it was free Nova Week.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be a Nova in every team.
Yeah.
So matchmaking was taking like 10 minutes at a time to find us a game.
Yeah.
And then we'd get like, our team comp would be like 3 specialists and
Lily.
and whatever Oakley was playing.
Yeah.
And their team would be like, I don't know, whatever C9 played last night. Like, I mean, like they would have
It was so awful.
and we'd have people that just like, there's this one game in particular, and if either of you guys were in this game, fuck you. But there was this one game where there's this Zeratul and Diablo who had like 14 deaths apiece.
It was awful.
And it was on
so
the
bad.
Towers of Doom. It was literally 40-0. Like,
Wow.
it was bad.
We successfully accomplished nothing that game.
Literally
It was awful.
nothing.
It was just sit in base and cry.
Yeah.
Like, it
Like-
was so disheartening to have a game like that.
Usually when everyone's like, man, I wish this game had a concede button, I'm like, just play it. But the couple of those games, I was like, I wish there was a concede button. Like, I just want to be not in
Can we
this.
just like vote concede?
Yeah,
please?
can we just like Alt F4 out of this game? And it usually like it usually takes a lot to rile me up. But like some of those games were just like, come on, we had this.
Objective pops. We have to fight for it.
Right.
And our team goes everywhere but the objective. It's like,
Wow.
holy cow, guys.
The
Come
horror of duo queue.
on. Ugh.
And usually, I mean, duo queue's not that bad. But there's even games where we had our buddy Jinx in there too, and it was still like weird team comms.
And Jinx said he was having the same thing before he joined us. He was having long queue times and not a lot of luck. So
Well, you know,
it was
somebody
just...
was having luck because somebody was kicking your ass.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
We were fighting against C9 and Tempo
Yeah.
Storm the entire weekend.
That's all it was. It was awful.
Oh. So yeah, I mean, I was out this weekend, but I mean, we had a great time playing our free hero rotation last week.
It
I
was-
thought
that was a lot of fun.
blast.
That was great.
I thought that was really, really fun. We have some good highlights that I need to go ahead and chop up and put on YouTube. A lot of good little combos that we're able to pull off.
Absolutely.
We had some
And-
really great ones.
Yeah. The Vala into Gazlo, I think, was
Into
Nova. Yeah.
It was just...
Ults was pretty bad. I think the only thing that could have made that better would have been like Johanna on the free week, because that
Right,
would have
yeah.
just been
over.
Horrible.
Like, here, let's just pull them all together. Oh, now you get Gazload.
Yeah.
Oh, now you get stunned. Oh, now Rain Event. Oh, and you're dead.
line them
funny.
up and you push them down. Yeah, very
Beautiful.
good. So you know what? I think that we'll definitely keep doing that every week, and so I think that really kind of brings us into news, because let's talk about free hero rotation this week.
It's a good way to transition into it, I think.
Mhm.
In case you missed it this week, they waited until the last possible minute to tell us what our free hero rotation was going to be.
Yeah, it was very strange. They didn't say anything. Usually we have it,
But like
at least a few days
the
ahead.
Friday before
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
usually, and then
it was last night. Rotor was like, "Hey, no, we're not telling you what it is tonight. We got another surprise for you tomorrow."
which was weird because I woke up and I was like, okay, cool, here's the free hero rotation. It was like, okay, it's just like 7 dudes. Like,
Yeah, it's like, well, that's disappointing.
what's special about this? Like,
Right.
it just seems like a regular rotation.
And people were speculating last night because Asia, their rotation is a little bit weird and it breaks all the time. Like, they've had extra heroes for a long time, apparently.
Oh,
I didn't realize that until last
I had
night.
no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either. But the hero rotation has been increased to 10 free heroes a week.
Yeah, and they surprised with like middle of the day. It was like, oh, by the way, it was those heroes we announced earlier and 3 more.
So are the new heroes, are they also gated by levels, or are they all in addition to the free ones?
As far as I can tell, they're just in addition to the free ones. Like, I haven't had a chance to log in today and actually check, but from everything I've seen, it
looks like those are the only 2 that are normally gated, are the...
Yep, the 12 and the 15.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool news for everybody. It's good news for us, because now we're doing this free hero thing. It's like we kind of...
They did it for us.
We personally did this for you guys.
That's right.
Yeah, so I it's great. I think that so the free hero rotation this week is Lily, ETC, Tychus, Sonya, Illidan, Thrall, Rexar, Leoric, Tyrande, and Sylvanas. I think this is also just a really super... I mean, honestly, I guess it'd be kind of hard to find a bad team with all the people unless they had all the same exact roles or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have a lot of fun this week on the stream.
There's a lot of cool possibilities. And one thing I thought was cool about it is there's a lot of like melee assassin-y types. Not that Sonya's an assassin, but you have Sonya, Illidan, and Thrall.
Sonya's an assassin.
I mean, basically, yeah. I mean, like you've got Sonya, Illidan, and Thrall who kind of all serve a similar purpose. So it's interesting to see all 3 of those available.
Yeah.
And they all have really cool heal mechanics, actually.
Yeah.
Sonya typically is, if you play Sonya, or even if you don't play her, but you'd like to play her this week, Sonya is really excellent. Like her whirlwind ability is healing. If you can land it properly in the middle of a team fight, heals a lot.
It's big. Even after it got adjusted down.
Yeah.
The healing aspect of it did.
But it's still really good. And
still
I use it when I don't have a super dedicated healer on me or something like that. So I think that's awesome. Thrall heals as well. And Illidan, his passive heals him too. So, I mean, we got a lot of like self-sustaining, high-sustain heroes here.
Yeah. It's going to be
Sunburst, Sonya's pretty bursty too.
It's going to be an intense week with only free heroes. So
there's a lot of, I mean, I'm just thinking of teams right now. Like I want to do like ETC, Sylvanas, Tyrande, Leoric, and Thrall. And I think that would be like a really killer team.
Yes.
That'd be so much fun. That'd be
There's
fantastic.
so much possibilities. Yeah. I'm getting pumped just thinking.
There's definitely some really good. I mean,
there's a lot of synergy in that.
There's a lot of synergy. There's a lot of these are just really good heroes. And again, I think it really comes back to Blizzard making really good, solid. I mean, there are only really a few heroes you're kind of like, maybe we shouldn't put them on free rotation. Notably, the ones I think aren't on free rotation usually are Abathur and Murky
and the Vikings.
Vikings.
I think at this point, Vikings have been off rotation for the longest.
Yeah.
Followed by Murky, followed by Abathur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Abathur was just on.
Yeah, it seemed like it wasn't too long ago that Abathur was playable, and it was pretty nightmarish. It was what you'd expect. And there's a reason these characters aren't put on the rotation often. It's just because
they're hard, and they can really make a game unfun if somebody doesn't know how to play them.
I think it's not so much. So, like Murky, for instance, I think a lot of people consider Murky a very difficult character to play. I don't think Murky's actually that hard to play, especially specific builds of Murky.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got a lot of traps, though, in his talent tree.
Absolutely.
Like Assault Egg. Who the hell takes Assault Egg?
Like, why do you need more vision around your egg?
Yeah.
And why does it need to be able to take one more hit?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. So he's got a lot of traps, but that being said, he's not that hard of a character to play. Someone like Abathur and Vikings, though, are very hard to play.
I'm genuinely afraid to play the Vikings because they're micromanagey and crazy difficult. Like, so much to watch. It takes a lot of map awareness, and I don't think I have it. I don't have enough to play them.
So, do you guys think that this is too many heroes a week? Do you think that their library has expanded big enough that we can have 10 free heroes a week?
I mean, basically, if you think about it, you're basically getting a fourth of the roster for free every week, which is really cool if you think about it, because League doesn't offer that many.
No. Does Dota?
All the heroes are free in Dota.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't. Yeah.
Everyone's free in Dota.
Damn.
21 characters.
Yeah.
If you guys want to play with me sometime.
Okay. Yeah, but League doesn't. I think League is only about 6 or something like that.
Yeah,
it's somewhere
that sounds
in that.
about right.
Yeah.
And but they also have they also have like 100+ roster.
Right. So now that's a very small. That's a 5% of the roster if you on free rotation every week.
Yeah, and Blizzard has mentioned at BlizzCon specifically that they've got plans for 200+ heroes lined up.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they do.
Yeah, down the line, but now,
it's going to come. But right now, it's a fourth of it. Do you I don't think it'll be a problem unless they start bumping like adding 3 heroes to the rotation, like every time they add another 10th.
Yeah.
Like every 10th hero, they let you do 3 more. Like I think that would get out of control pretty quickly.
I think the only thing that would make this uninteresting is if we saw a lot of the same characters week after week. So we just talked about how Murky, Lost Vikings, and Abathur aren't typically on the rotation. You see characters like Lily and ETC on a lot because they're pretty easy to play.
Yep.
So it'd be kind of boring to see those two and maybe a handful of others consistently week after week after week. I think if they can keep it varied, that it's something really interesting, something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think that they are putting a lot of like really easy characters. There are several characters that we talked about on here. There's some hard ones too, like Illidan,
Rexar.
and Rexar is very difficult. But like Lily and Sylvanas and ETC are probably the easiest characters to play on here. The hardest I would have to say are probably Illidan, Rexar, and probably I have some issues with Thrall personally, but that might be a personal thing.
Leoric's a tough one at first too.
Yeah, Leoric is kind of strange to get used to.
Of realizing that just because you can die and come back quickly doesn't mean that you should is one of the hard things to
You're
overcome
still a
with
tank.
Leoric.
Yeah.
You still need to be alive.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, he's surprisingly flimsy early on, and I think that throws a lot of people off. So they get themselves in situations that they can't get out of, and they die.
Which is
a
saying
lot.
something because he's a very slippery motherfucker.
He is.
Yeah.
He
He's
gets
like one of the few tanks that has a really great escape.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
That level 4 talent where you take significantly reduced damage while you're
Ardent
using
Bones.
E. Like
It's so good.
it's verges on being required. Like,
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, it's
I
the
take
best
it
one.
every time.
It's the best one in that tree. Absolutely.
So
So-
it's so good.
That's awesome.
But he is one of my favorite tanks, him and Arthas. I love them both.
So if you're thinking about getting a friend in, I think that, Lily, ETC, and Sylvanas are great. Some great first characters. And there's some characters we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a great time to get somebody new into the game.
And now there's reason to do that.
There is totally a reason to get some new people into the game. Your friends, I think, better late than never. But there is now a recruit a friend bonus. I'm not sure if this is an event or if it's something that's going to continue going on. I believe it's going to be continual for this mount.
I can only assume, yeah.
Their recruiter friends typically have been, if we're looking at World of Warcraft, they just change the reward every so often. I don't know what the time frame is for that, but they get specific mounts and stuff in World of Warcraft.
That's correct. And so this is now a recruit a friend bonus. You're going to get your friend is going to get a hero. They're going to get Raynor, correct?
And a stim pack.
And a stim pack.
Just for logging in.
Just for
being
our
there.
friend.
Just for being your friend.
pal.
Just a pal. And you also will get, after you recruit 4 friends, you will get a mount. It's a vulture. It's a spaceship. It's pretty cool. I thought it was a literal bird at first. Like before I clicked it, and I was really excited, and then I was significantly less excited. But
It's
then
like a flying motorcycle.
But then I
It's
said,
so
wait,
cool.
it's a hover bike.
So cool. I want to get Marshall Raynor kicking on that thing.
That'd be so perfect.
Oh my god.
I think it's great that they're offering Raynor as the first free hero as well, because all new players are going to go through the tutorial, and your tutorial is with Raynor.
It makes sense. It makes sense, but it also goes back to what I was saying a couple weeks ago, where it just kind of adds to that stigma of Raynor being like the noob character.
It's
Yeah.
true. It's
All the Raynors on the poverty ponies. We're going to have to.
Oh
it's
my
gonna be
God,
fun. Yeah. There's going to be lots of Raynors on poverty ponies. And they won't all be new players. I think that's the other issue I have with this currently is
it's the trap.
it's going to be the trap here. So
I like to do that during Free Nova Week.
yes, if your friends are going to be starting to play, really play with them because you don't really want to set them. I think this is going to be a wolf sentence for a lot of new people. They're going to get on, they're going to play, and everyone's going to want this mount. So there are going to be people who are not new on new accounts playing this. If you don't know what this is called, it's called smurfing. I just learned this recently. I did not even know that was a thing. But it makes sense. I mean, people they just want to crush noobs. And so they get
I
on.
just want that mount. I want that mount.
Well, I mean, before this though, people smurf for that reason.
Oh, for fun, yeah,
for
absolutely.
fun,
Yeah, exactly,
It's kind
yeah.
of like going to STV and ganking some noobs. That's all it is. You're just like, I'm gonna play some noob stomper like Nova or Kael'thas and just wreck.
I kind of had an experience with this actually.
You had an experience with
Yeah,
this?
because I was I was trying to get the card back for my fiance.
Oh, that's,
that's
right.
right.
So because she doesn't really play Heroes of the Storm or MOBAs, but she loves Hearthstone. So she had no interest in playing Heroes of the Storm at all. And I tried. Trust me, guys.
I believe you.
But so I just played on our account for her. Blizzard, don't ban me, please. And and there was someone I just played ETC because he was free that week, and there were just so many games where it was just so one-sided because everyone was new and I knew what I was doing. And
You can just pretty much ping your way to victory.
Right,
Ping
yeah.
your way to victory, and you were playing tank, which is also a high crowd control tank, which is really, I think people don't really know how to deal with ETC. A good one.
Definitely not, especially at the lowest.
They all
ranks of
crowd
MMR.
together, and you just how many dream mosh pits did you?
it was
get?
like every game. That
Every
was
game, yeah.
it was less of a miracle and just less
Yeah.
of something that like
It's
you
just gonna
expected to
happen.
happen.
You're just like, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You just starts rocking out.
So like I definitely get like why people do that, but it was like a shitty feeling.
Yeah. You're like,
It's
I'm
not
sorry.
the same when you get it against a team that's as good as you are.
Right, yeah, just kind of like, oh, guys, you'll learn. One
Yeah,
day. You'll
I
learn
guess
to spread out.
It's like twinking, right? Like in World of Warcraft. I
Oh,
used
yeah,
to be
absolutely.
a twinker. That was me. I used to do that. I used to be in the
like
19.
level 19, yeah.
I was.
Rogue with the double poison blades.
I
yeah,
hated
yeah.
you guys
Not
so
poison.
Oh, no, it
'cause
was,
you couldn't get poisons at
Crusader, yeah.
19.
much. Yes.
Yeah, Crusader. But before that, I also did. I couldn't afford Crusader, so I had a 15 agility on,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
so
Oh, that was expensive too.
yeah, that wasn't
Couldn't afford
cheap.
Crusader, could afford like the most expensive
Yeah.
enchant in the game, whatever.
Was Crusader less expensive? I guess that's true. I don't remember if I had. I think I had strength on one because that's all I could afford for the other one, and then I
Right.
had a 115 agility on the other. I remember like going in camping in STV to get my fishing hat with the 15 stamina on it
Yeah.
because you could wear that. I mean, it was
Were you a
awesome.
gnome too?
Yeah, I was a gnome.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just a little piece of shit.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
out. I'm out.
I'm-
Just
You-
tapping out.
You ruined my battleground experience.
I know.
As I was leveling up, it was all you.
I did that, and I had a 29 hunter too.
Oh my god, you were the worst.
I was the
You
worst.
were the worst.
I was absolutely the worst because AB at 29 hunter was just like
Fun.
choice. It's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, and he just one shot people. It's kind of sad. You're like, I'm gonna play marksmanship, and just
I'm gonna
aim shot you from Shadow Meld
before they nerfed it.
before they nerfed it. Yeah.
So I'm sure you, like a lot of our listeners have had that experience, and now you will soon have that experience. In Heroes of the
Yeah,
Storm.
you will. Yeah. So I think it's gonna be interesting week. I know that. I mean, sorry again, don't ban us, Blizzard, but we're gonna probably be doing this ourselves to get our accounts, and I think it'll be interesting. At least we got tons of new free heroes to play.
Why no? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
This-
sure
I mean,
that's also
this-
why.
And what's cool is they're also doing like a 50% in honor of the recruiter friend. They're doing an additional 50% bonus.
So it's in
experience.
addition to your friends to impact too.
Yeah, exactly.
It all
So like
stacks.
they're
Yeah,
gonna hit.
everybody gets a 50%.
Everyone gets a 50%. Your friends get a stim pack. They're like, if you've got some pals that are wanting to get into the game, this is the week. Like,
This is absolutely
this is your time to get a really cool mount.
So,
Right.
so let's look at the experience gains here. So you get the 50% that Blizzard is giving everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Your friend will get the stim pack for 5 days, and if you're playing with them, they will get another 50% experience increase.
Wow.
Exactly.
You want to get your friends into the game quickly, this is definitely the time to do it.
Yep. Yeah. And and if your friends have maybe played the game before, let's say they have an account already, but they're only level 3 or 4, they didn't like the game. Maybe they hated those talent gates. Well, I got good news for you, son. 1, no more talent gates. So that's fantastic. And you can still recruit them. So if they're under level 5, you can still attach your account to theirs and you get them to 10. Once they hit 10 is when you get your mount. Once 4 of your friends get to 10, you get your mount.
When one of them gets to 10, you get your cool portrait.
And it is a really cool portrait.
That's awesome. Yeah, the portrait looks pretty sweet. I think
Yeah.
that's good.
And your friend gets it as well for hitting level 10 as a recruit.
And he gets Sylvanas.
Yeah.
Oh, and you get
At 10, they get Sylvanas.
Yeah, I
We
forgot
to
about
mention-
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
You get
I
two-
don't even have Sylvanas.
Really?
I don't know.
Oh.
You get 2 of my favorite heroes just for playing the game.
Yeah, Raynor and Sylvanas.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
love them both.
So that's awesome. I'm really happy. I'm really happy about this talent gating thing. I think that it's one of the most frustrating things about
Man.
heroes when you're very first starting because let's just face it, the top 2 talents are not like in the list are not the best 2 talents.
Or your first ult.
Or your
But-
first ult is terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are very few heroes where the top 2 or 3 talents in each tier are the ones you're going to be taking. A lot of times, and I don't know if this is on purpose, I feel like it is, they're towards the bottom. Like Murky at level 4, Living the Dream, 4th talent.
Yeah.
You can't get that. but you should take it almost every time you play Murky.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really happy they did this. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. I don't think they were protecting anybody by not having the talents.
I don't think it was confusing anybody, but
Yeah.
these are the same folks that say more than 9 deck slots in Hearthstone
It's
would be
too many.
confusing to the.
No trust, Blizzard.
yeah.
No trust. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is great, fantastic. It's a great time. Get your heroes into the storm. You know, so have them listen to us. Have them listen to the new characters if they really are new episode, and have fun this week. I think it's going to be an awesome week.
I'm looking forward to our free game this week a
Mhm.
lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you can also tune into our stream, and we'll be doing that. As
Yeah, we'll do an announcement when we're about to do the stream, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Cheer us on,
Yay!
or cheer against us.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's
Cheer
fine.
against us. We'll fight you.
Yeah, we'll fight. Yes, it's true. We would totally fight.
Maybe we can pretend to be like super popular and start a channel for people to come play against us.
All of our Smurf accounts should have our names in them. We should do that too.
Yep.
That'd be a good idea. So the last thing on our list here for new news is the Black Friday sale got extended.
Yeah, that's
it
awesome.
did.
Because that was another thing. Also, is usually towards the end of the week, you tend to see what's on sale for the next week, and I hadn't seen that. But then I was like, I don't really care. Like everything's on sale right now. Like
Yeah, if
like,
you want something, you should have already bought it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm
Unless
pretty
you're
good. Yeah.
unless you're me and you still haven't bought anything.
Come on, dude. There's got to be at least something.
There is, but I had to pay bills, and we're buying a house, so I have to be really careful with my money.
$5.
So,
$5. He's
What
just
do
being
you?
cheap.
Which one is it?
You know when Argyle's telling you you're being cheap. Yeah. we got a problem here.
okay, I might have a problem.
What skin is it that you want?
I really want the judgment stuff for Uther, but I don't even own Uther.
Well, you can pick him up too. He's cheap.
He's like, how much gold do you got? Come on.
I just hit 10K.
Well,
Well,
you
then you
can
have
buy him now.
Yeah, I think he's only like 4,000 or something.
Yeah, he's like
cheap.
he's like 7K or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to look at. I almost own all the heroes, so I need to go through and do a purchase anyway.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think my next purchase is going to be Kilthos, and I hate myself for it. I just,
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
I know. I'm sorry, everyone. I am going to apologize every single time I log into the video game because I'm just like, look, I just really want to win. And I'm sorry. He's
You're
just
hitting
really
your buzz.
good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Ooh, you just walked into that gravity lapse. I'm so sorry.
Enemy team
Ooh,
dominated.
Guys, don't run next to each other. I'm just like closing my eyes and just hitting chain ball. I'm like, I'm sorry. You guys did it to yourselves. I can't be responsible for you blowing up your team. Why is your gargantuan running back into your team? Oh, I have to light it on fire. I'm sorry. It's just too good. So yeah, he's probably my next purchase, but I am not buying that shitty steampunk skin.
No,
That
that's
is
awful.
the ugliest
No,
thing.
give me the fan-made disco Kael'thas, and we will talk.
Yeah, I would totally pick that up. He looks like he belongs in a Sims game, though.
He does. He's hilarious.
I want. We're talking purely for Kael'thas. I would love a Magister's Terrace Kael'thas skin.
Totally.
Where he's all like
Absolutely.
fucked up and like there's crystals sticking out of him
I would love that. That would be fantastic.
Mhm.
and like make it a package deal with the white Hawkstrider mount so I can actually ride
Oh.
that in a video game. Because I never got that to drop.
I think I did manage to get that before we
You
stopped
did.
playing.
Yeah, you
I
did.
have the white Hawkstrider.
hmm You know, they also should put in the game. I was just thinking, like an Ashes of Alar mount would be
Oh,
really, really
Yeah,
awesome. Like
that'd
the
be cool.
Phoenix.
That would be a sexy mount.
Any of those like super hard to get but highly farmed mounts in World of Warcraft
would be awesome.
would be awesome. Like
That would be great.
Rivendare's mount or the Raven Lord.
Well, we got the Headless Horse's mount, which is pretty close to.
That's
Rivendell.
close,
It's,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
close-ish. I mean, I love that mount.
yeah.
It's fantastic.
I love it. It's
It's
so
cool.
pretty. Mm-hmm.
I remember the first year they did Hollow's End with the Headless Horseman, and I was like, yeah, there's this super rare mount. I got it my first run.
Oh my
I was
god.
one of those dudes.
You're that guy.
You were the guy that we hate forever.
I was one
Yeah.
of those dudes. I was also serving first time Lost Protege, but that's another story altogether.
That's awesome.
So you guys want to get into what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
get angry again.
get-
We're having too much fun. It's time to get
Yeah,
mad.
it's time to
It's time to
super
get mad.
upset. So, we're going to talk a little bit about winning games. I mean, at the end of the day, we all want to win some games, right? So,
Absolutely.
yeah. And when you're winning games, it feels really good and you're on a roll and it's hard to bring you down. But when you get into a losing streak, this can be hard to deal with. And
Yeah, the weekend was pretty rough.
yeah. And so we want to talk about a few things that you can do to help tighten up your game and to avoid tilt. One of the things, the first thing.
Do our listeners know what tilt is?
Well, do you want to tell them what tilt is?
I think it would be good to start with what tilt is.
Mm-hmm.
Tilt is when you just lose focus on what you need to be doing, essentially, and you start making bad plays, and then you get upset and you make more bad plays, and it just becomes a vicious cycle that you just can't seem to get yourself out of.
Mm-hmm. This is really obvious when you see toxic behavior on chat. Yeah. It's really probably one of the biggest indicators if somebody's raging on chat, and maybe you start diving, you start making bad ults, you miss, you do all sorts of stuff that maybe you wouldn't have done if you weren't getting called out or what have you. And so
you overextend. You tell yourself, I'm not going to go to the objective. I'm going to stay down here and do this other thing that doesn't really help the team at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're not talking about necessarily like purposeful. This is not a purposeful action. This is something that happens to you essentially because you get too emotional. But we'd also like to talk about ending a game because, like, really something I've noticed is that sometimes games go really long, and they don't have to go this long.
Yeah, the 30-minute game should not happen very often.
No, ideally you want to end the game as quickly as possible. You don't want to draw it out. I mean, there's very few comps out there that you get stronger as you go on.
Once you hit level 20, you've basically hit the peak of your power.
Right.
Once you hit level 20, you should be looking to end the game at every opportunity.
Yeah, so that's the first one, is that ending the game at 20 is probably your goal. No, I mean, you shouldn't be, even 23, 24, both teams, 23, 24, that's too long. Maybe you probably could have made some other decisions that could have ended this game sooner. Now, that's, of course, not going to be every single game, but I think it's worth analyzing your play. So you guys want to talk about some mistakes that people make towards the end of the game?
Absolutely.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make towards the end of the game is it's like you just don't believe in yourself. You don't believe how much damage your five-man team can do to the core in a very, very short amount of time.
Yeah.
The numbers game is huge in this game. If you outnumber the enemy team almost at any point in the game, you have advantage, and you need to take advantage of it.
You need to
One way to you need to push, and you can do it with just your characters, especially at level 20. A bruiser camp at level 20 is worthless almost. It's practically worthless. You can do whatever, even a boss is almost not as good, because if you're going to spend 30 seconds taking down a boss after you just killed an enemy player, now they're going to be up in 30 seconds. The boss will take almost that long to get to their core, versus if you had just gone straight through, murdered a keep, and maybe even got some damage on the core.
Yeah. You have to remember that as the game gets later, camps and the boss should be used as more of a distraction, which is true throughout the entire game, but especially at the late game where they're not as impactful.
I don't think of camps as being a distraction. I think of camps as being a decision that needs to be made for the enemy team.
Right.
And that's why it's really good to pick them before objectives.
Right. And that's what I was meaning. They're a distraction. Your hope is that your opponents decide to go after and send at least one person to go deal with that camp instead of going to the objective.
No, I disagree, because no matter which choice they make, it's good for you. Because if you have for example, here's a really good example. The first towers, after the first towers on Sky Temple pop, and they are done and out of ammunition, 2 minutes later, the next tower will pop.
And this is a hard concept to get across to teams in the heat of battle. Mm-hmm. So this is a good one to go over.
Yes, and so it's 2 minutes later. So after everybody knows the mid and the top tower are the first two towers that pop on Sky Temple. Once you've depleted the second tower out of ammunition, you have 2 minutes. So you should be focusing, and then the bottom shrine will pop.
This is constant.
It always happens.
The first 2 rounds will always be this way.
Mm-hmm. So what you really want to do, your best bet is to take your bruisers right as the bottom temple is popping.
So you want to start them around the 90 to 100 second mark.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And so you want to start them and cap them right as the announcement goes off. That would be like the dream. And so that's really what you want to use camps for, is that you have something, and now it's like, there's going to be a giant team fight down there. They're not going to split up because there's only one shrine up, so they have to have a giant team fight down there. And if they do send one, you're going to outnumber them. If they don't send one, you just had bruisers either depleting their ammunition or taking down their towers and their wall.
Right. It's
It's
a
good.
decision.
It's a win. No, either way, it's a win-win for you.
Yeah,
If you do it, it's more or less a win-win.
It's a
Unless they have a
win-win for you.
Sylvanas and they take out those bruisers really fast, and you're like,
Yeah.
shit.
And that's super important at that point in the game.
Yes.
But say you just want a team fight, you're level 20, they're
Yes.
level 18. Why are you killing the camps?
Yeah, there's absolutely
End
no
the
reason.
game.
Yeah, at 18 and 20, you've got at least a fort down in some lane. With
Hopefully.
hopefully,
If you're not, you got bigger fish to fry at this point.
Yeah,
but
that-
you
that-
can still do it. We believe in you.
no game is unwinnable. Like
yeah.
that, we've come back from some ridiculous stuff.
Absolutely. We come back from like 3 level deficits. It's like games where it's just like, oh, this is awful.
Mhm.
But at that level 20 mark, you kill somebody and you're up 4v5. There is no reason to not push that player advantage and try to take out a wall and some towers, or like a fort or a keeps exposed. Push it, get some damage on it, try to take it down.
Force a fight.
Yeah. Force
Yeah.
a fight. Right.
You
exactly.
have the advantage.
Right.
Push it.
hmm
Because, and like Bearcat said here a little bit ago, you don't realize how much damage you can do very, very quickly.
hmm
Just try it. Try it next time.
Yeah. So I think that's like the number one hint is more or less it's just you can do it if you just go, especially if you can fight under their core, even if you don't have minions, depending on who you have in your team. Also, you can analyze your team comp a little bit. If you have an Artanis, if you have a Sonya and a healer, if you have an Illidan, these characters can tank the core, especially at 20.
Illidan can take the whole thing down without anybody supporting him.
Yes.
Like, he's crazy.
hmm So think about kind of who you have and who can tank the core. And so you don't even have to worry about minion waves necessarily. Maybe you should clear a little bit as you're running up, but that's about it. Just go for it.
Don't wait for your creep wave.
hmm
Just kill what's
And-
in your way and get on the core.
Right. hmm
But it's also something to keep in mind along the lines of how much damage you can do at 20 is, say you guys are tied. Maybe it's not a level advantage in your favor. Say you guys are both at level 20 already, and an objective pops. If one of their lanes is pushed and you have that keep down, and you see them going to the objective, get your ass to their core, because you will burn it down faster than they can hearth back
Yep.
and defend. Or maybe only like one of them hearths back, thinking, I got this. You guys get that Grave Golem, you know.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Grave Golems is especially a really good one to backdoor on because people get so focused on getting those skulls. But the Grave Golem takes a long time because not only do you have to get all the skulls,
Then
it
he gets-
takes a long time for him to kind of come out of the ground. He's a slow motherfucker. Like,
Yeah,
he's just
well,
like,
you get
he's
all the
dead.
you get all the skulls, and then the announcement goes off, and then both of the health bars fill up, and
Yeah.
then the ground starts shaking, and then he pops up, and then you've won the game.
Speaking
Yeah.
of, it's been 3 weeks. Haunted Mines free, and it is awesome.
Yeah.
It has been beautiful.
Like,
I am a weirdo. I like that map, but only reason why I like that map is because I do play a lot of Sylvanas, and Sylvanas is absolutely overpowered on that
Disgusting,
map.
Oh,
yeah,
she's gross.
yeah. Always push with the golem with Sylvanas.
Oh yeah.
But
Just speaking the back door that Argyle was just talking about, we saw that specifically on which one was it? Garden Tear. We talked about it
yeah.
recently on our favorite plays,
mhm.
and that's exactly what happened.
Yep. They went for the golem, and the other team just kind of sat around.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Waited until their lane pushed up, went for the core, and they won.
Yeah, it was over.
Yeah, again, it's about ending the game, and sometimes the objective takes too long. And if you can end the game before they can finish the objective, well, again, it's taking your eye off the prize. Because the only objectives help you win the game, but the objectives don't win the game. The only objective in Heroes of the Storm is to kill the core.
Yes.
And there's only one map right now where you absolutely have to do the objective in order to win, and that's the new Towers of Doom,
Right.
because it's the only way you can damage the core.
Right.
But even then, like, that's not 100% true, because you've got the boss and you've got the sappers if you can push down lanes. It's just slower. So with that, always remember that there's more than one way to win the game. Don't get so caught up on the objectives that you stop doing things. Blackheart's Bay is a great example of it. We've had multiple games where the enemy team just camped the turn-in, so we couldn't do the objectives on Blackheart's Bay. So we started grabbing all the camps and the free coins and just pushing down lanes as long as they would let us, and got us to a win.
Yeah. There's more to maps than just the objective,
Right.
which is
You just have to look at what's going on and what strategy you can use to make up for whatever they're taking away from you.
So let's talk a little again. Let's go back to like tilt. This idea of tilt. Number one, I think is always again you got to be positive. Try to be nice to players. You really not and try not to only call out when people do something wrong. And if you are going to call it when somebody does something wrong, maybe ask them a question and not in a shitty way, but like hey, maybe next time, do you mind, or do you like why did you? Okay, maybe next time you could do this instead. That's a nice way to be critical of somebody's play. And if they're an asshole back to you, then, just shrug it off.
There's no helping that person if
no
they're going to
helping.
come back at you like that.
Yeah.
But it is tough to. Sometimes it's tough to give that advice without sounding condescending, and which
Yeah.
can be especially difficult over text.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just the form of communication that's in the game. You don't have voice, so you don't have the tone.
And then being on the receiving end of that, try to let it to roll it off of you. Maybe that person's right, and maybe they're wrong. Sometimes people will really not know what they're talking about
Right.
when they tell you that. And sometimes it's okay for you to be making decisions in this video game. That's kind of the point. You want to have fun. You want to have a team decision together. But if that person wasn't pinging or doing anything, don't even worry about them. Like,
Right. If you've got Raynor up in the top lane asking why nobody was here pushing with me when the rest of the team was bottom lane, well, don't listen to that, Raynor.
Right, and then he gets killed and
Right.
wonders why.
He gets
and,
ganked by the other team because he was alone.
And then the objective spawns and you're down a guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that happens frequently.
it happens.
So, and at the end of the day, it's just like, if you're on a losing streak, sometimes some people I know out there, they don't like to stop playing when they're losing. They want to be able to win a game before they go to bed.
Right.
I get this. It sucks. But I think that shaking yourself out of this mindset can be really healthy. One, because the longer you play and the more upset you are, again, the more bad decisions you'll start making. You start seeing people dive bombing the team, going for the back line. They really focus on this idea. For instance, we had a game the other day where we had a really tough bruisery front line and a Morales in the back.
Oh man, it was brutal.
And it is brutal. It's a brutal setup. It's a really good, they're all running interference for Morales. They're just protecting the egg. And that's an awesome strategy. But the person with our team kept on telling us to go for Morales. Well, if you dive over the front line and go for Morales, those bruisers are going to turn around and kill you. There's just no
Yeah,
way. You have
right.
to poke a hole first
You have to do enough damage somewhere that you can get through that line. So
and then get to her.
sometimes attacking the tank is the right decision.
Yeah,
Right.
people have this terrible mindset of you should never focus the tank, and I really hate absolutes like that
No.
because it's never the right answer.
Mm-mm.
You can't just always ignore the tank.
No.
Because
Especially-
they hurt.
Yeah.
Or they hurt themselves, or they have a stun of some sort, or something to get you out of place, and then you're dead because you're out of position.
Like
or
for-
they're a key to their combo. Like if they're only tanks in ETC or something like that, and their entire strategy hinges around that, you kill that tank. You
Right.
pick him off,
You
and then
kill
you
that
engage, and they fall apart.
Yeah, if you got an Uther and an ETC, you need to kill that ETC because it hinges on his combo. I mean, that's really the end of that.
Yeah, or you do enough damage somewhere else that Uther blows his Divine Shield, and
So-
then the combo's dead.
Yeah, so what I'm getting to here is that you can't have tunnel vision. Like, tunnel vision is one of the biggest enemies of this video game. Like, you cannot sit there and think about, we have to get to the objective, or we have to kill the healer first, or we have to do these things. These
We
are not
have to do the camps. We have to get the boss.
Mhm. You gotta be flexible and be flexible with your team. For example, let's just say you're in a game and you really feel like the rest of your team is in the wrong place on the map. Well, and you're upset about this idea, but you're alone and you're somewhere else on the map. You think you're in the right spot. If you are not with your team, if it's late in the game, for instance, you are in the wrong spot. It
You
doesn't
will.
matter where they are. They could be all at base. It doesn't matter where you are. You're in the wrong spot if you're alone on that map.
And
Because you will die, and now your team's really boned because, again, you're down a man.
just something to go along, and I've seen this mentioned a couple different places online. It's better to make the wrong decision as a team than to make the right decision alone.
Yes.
And it goes right in line with that thinking. You may be doing what's technically right, but if the rest of your team isn't there making that decision with you, it's doing no good.
Right. So again, like trying to be nice, trying to use your pings, and don't ping a ton.
Don't ping that thing like a dozen times.
Yeah,
we get
aggressively pinging, like the passive aggressive pinging is the kind of the worst.
Oh, where they ping on somebody like so and so needs help.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, shut up! I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fine. Just hold your horses.
Yeah, or like if you've made a mistake and this person starts pinging on you, like you did a bad thing, like they're gonna shame you in front of everyone.
Yeah. Ping shaming.
It's ping shame. I came here to ping shame. So
don't ping shame me.
And so the last thing I kind of have on my list here is just about like throwing a game. One of the biggest kind of things in this game is called the throw pit, right?
Yep.
So what's the throw pit?
Most people know that is wherever the bosses spawn.
Yeah, it's especially bad on Sky Temple.
Sky Temple is really bad because it's super exposed in the middle of the map.
And it's easy to ambush. There's a lot of like areas where you cannot see. So.
And it's right next to 2 other merc camps, so it's like it's so easy just to like do one of those merc camps, take a step to the left. Oh, the enemy team's doing the boss.
Yeah.
Get him, boys!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, get in here!
The boss on most of the other maps is in like a secluded little area. There's one way to get to it. Maybe 2 little fog things that you need to keep an eye out on. Mm-hmm. Sky Temple, you've got 2 very wide open lanes coming from each side. You can come from the top lane, from the bottom lane, like Argyle said, from either of the siege camps. It's a nightmare.
If there is ever a doubt that you cannot take that boss and have the advantage throughout the entirety of that boss fight, don't take it.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. You can try to juke them, maybe start it, and if you're able to get out quickly, maybe do that to try to force a team fight, force an engagement. But that's a dangerous strategy. But again, if there's ever a doubt, just don't do it. You can win without the boss. And if anything, let them start it and then go for it.
There are so many losing games I've had become winning games because we have caught them out on their boss.
Yep.
After a bad, man, we really lost that Ravenlord tribute. But now they went and did their boss, and they're weak, and we killed them and got their boss, and suddenly we're way up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, especially if you're down levels at that point, killing enemy heroes when you're down experience is a huge boost. You can suddenly be up levels, have the boss advantage, have your whole team at full health, and just make whatever objective they just got useless.
So this is from our friend Funshade, and I really like this. And basically, he wrote in this article, and he said that people think of throwing a game like it's something that a single player does. But throwing a game is something that your team did not do. That's actually what it is. It's just really easy to finish a game, but a lot of people don't like to risk finishing the game because they feel like if they lose in an all-out fight, it's 100%. Like you can't do it. A chance of a loss. And lack of information is really the issue here. If you have information about the map, again, they're down a hero. They are... you don't have to know exactly where they are, but maybe they're down a hero. Their core is low. The lane's pushed. You can get in there and finish that game. So, and there's a fine line between throwing and finishing, and it's kind of knowing when to do that. And that takes practice.
It does take practice, and you'll see professionals mess it up from time to time too. Mm-hmm. You'll see they get a 2-player advantage. They go to push the core. Everybody respawns, and then they lose the game because they get killed trying to take out the enemy core. It happens to everybody.
Right.
But you're never going to get it if you don't try.
Mm-hmm. And hesitation is the enemy here as well. And if your team also hesitates on doing something like this, then don't do it. That is kind of a really high risk. For example, if you guys are fighting for 20 seconds on whether or not you guys should push the core, and now the enemy team has got only 40 seconds to spawn, you probably shouldn't do it now. It's probably too late.
Especially if you're trying to come across the map to get there, because you'll be down to 20 seconds spawn time before you can even get to the core.
Mm-hmm. So I think that these are pretty good tips. I think that it's a fine line that takes a little bit of finagling and learning, but if you learn how to kind of avoid tilt, go out, have a snack, take a shower, wash your face, practice some self-care. Don't worry about people who tilt. Learn the most about the game. Listen, maybe watch some gameplay. I think that's another way to kind of like tighten up your game. Is so watch something.
Watch streams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Find the professional games from DreamHack. Find the people that were doing the commentating. Find some of these professional commentators. They do streams of their own.
And another good way is also maybe that losing streak you just did, maybe you should watch some of those games and really look at yourself. Try not to look at everyone else that's playing. Were you out of position a couple times because you were upset? Did you miss your ult? Did you do these things? Okay, then you're not an LOL, man. Like, you literally are contributing to your own, MMR issue here. And so it's really important that we kind of look at ourselves with a critical eye. Don't get too worked up. It's just a video game.
Always have fun.
Yeah. So then don't worry, like, you're just a dirty casual anyway.
It's true.
It's true. We all are.
Do we have a question for
I
this
have a
week?
question.
You have a question?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What is
For
your
everybody.
question?
All right, so it's been 2 weeks now. We haven't really talked about it much. Yes or no? Towers of Doom. Do you guys like it? Oakley, start.
Oh. Okay. I do like it. I think it's a fun map. It's a lot different from from all of the other maps that you see. The problem I have with it is that it's more difficult overall. It's a very technical map. And the hardest thing to try to convey to teams, from what I've seen, is that just because a keep is low doesn't mean you need to kill it. One thing to keep in mind is that a keep that is respawning, like you've crushed it and it's respawning, it will fire a missile for you. It does not have to be full health. It does not have to be active. If you can get the keeps of your opponent's keeps down to low health and then break them right as an objective is coming up, you have put your opponents in a really, really, really bad spot. It's a forced decision, like bearcatte was talking about earlier, because now if they get the objectives, they get one bullet. That's it. So they can either fight over a single bullet or wait until all of their keeps come back up. All of your keeps come up, and they have to get to full health. Then they can take them down. It puts them in a weird spot. I just think overall it's a very technical map. There's a lot of different stuff going on, a lot of ways you can put pressure, and several ways to win. It's just hard to get everybody on the same page.
Yeah, I think I have some slight disagreements with that. I as far as the way I feel about the map, I think I'm kind of neutral on it. I think that there really is. You say there's a lot of ways to win, and technically that's true, but there really doesn't seem to actually be another way to win other than getting as many points, more points than your opponent. I mean, that's really how you win that map. It's not, it's not like get more, because there's not enough time for you to push the keeps. I've never seen one lane, for instance, get pushed and before somebody else being able to just come by and retake it over again. It's very rare that it becomes super lopsided unless it's a very lopsided game already. We've had some massive wins and some massive losses where, yes, they do push, but it's only in addition to. It's almost like they're just winning more. It's not like they're trying an alternate strategy to try to win the game. They just won more team fights than us. That's why. So on one hand, I do think it's a cool map. I think it's a really cool idea, but I kind of don't like how it pigeonholes you into only winning in this way. I wish that it was more feasible for you to try to take all of the keeps and have it start firing directly at the core. Because if you're down already, trying to use a catch-up method, quote unquote, to take all their keeps and have it start immediately firing over them to kind of bring them down to your level, it's just not feasibly going to happen. And I think the way they might be able to fix this is to kind of lengthen the time in between the nodes popping.
I would agree that sometimes it's really fast.
It's very
on
fast.
The nodes. And they still have the 3 nodes.
That's the worst one.
That's awful. Like, if you're losing, you're done at that point. Like,
yeah.
We've said this before. It's the Sky Temple problem.
Yeah, it's the Sky Temple. They need to change that to 2 or 1, like how they did with Sky Temple.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as, just to comment on your idea of the lane pushing and trying to get all of the bullets firing, the core firing on its own is not the only condition with a push lane, because then you also get the sappers that on their own will do damage directly to the core.
And you only have to have one lane to push that. Do that.
As long as if you capture your sappers, escort them down, as soon as they get there, it's done.
That's the other thing too, is it's not like in other maps where and change is good. Don't get me wrong, I like change, but having to escort the sappers, because if you don't know, you kind of if the sappers are killed before they reach a structure, they do nothing. They don't really do much at all. If they get to a structure, they will suicide bomb themselves and do massive amounts of damage to the structure. It's crazy. If the lane is pushed completely, if you have captured the keep, they will go and do 3 shots to the core, essentially. They're almost like a mini boss, which is excellent. I mean, and you only have to have one lane to push the lane that they go down. But again, I just feel like you have to stay with them. So it's not like in the other ones where you're like, I'm going to capture these and go to the team fight. You can't really do that because they probably won't make it all the way down. Something's going to happen and then they get killed.
Yeah, I think there might be something that Blizzard can do to that. I would say that they could be made a little bit stronger. In some way, maybe you shouldn't have to escort them, but I like the mechanic overall.
Yeah.
They're so strong. Letting them push a lane on their own would be like out of control.
The thing I like the most about it is the boss. Honestly, I think the boss is hilarious. I think that he does so much damage, and it's really dangerous. It's like a really super risky move, even more risky than I think normal bosses because it's hard to even disengage with this boss.
Yeah, he hurts.
Yes.
And
it's a cool way to kind of come back, but you only get 4 shots. It's not that much of a comeback.
Yeah, if you're already down, like if your enemy still has 40 hits on their core and you're down to 10, like 4 shots is not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I feel like it's hard to come back in that. I think it's a little snowbally. I think maybe some time in between the points coming up could help.
I disagree with it being snowballing.
Really?
In fact, I think it is possibly the most balanced map.
Really?
I think it's.
Holy shit.
I think it actually might be one of my favorite maps.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it's entirely skill based. Because in almost every other map, if you win an objective or if you get the trigger, you typically get a gigantic experience boost. If you're talking the coin turn-ins on black hearts, if you're talking Ravenlord, you got the curse. You get a ridiculous advantage
by taking down the keeps.
by doing the objective.
Oh, okay.
Just by doing the objective naturally, you get the dragon. You're killing towers. You're getting experience for your team. If you get the Garden Terror, same thing.
Yeah.
Blackheart's Bay, cannons, taking out towers. Sky Temple, same shit.
Right.
In this map, you got the objective. You're just a little bit closer to winning the game, just by virtue of the core dying. It's not because you have more experience or you are actually snowballing. You're just kind of at the same position you were at before. And I think it is probably the map you can come back on the most, just because if, say, your team gets really coordinated and you can consistently win those team fights and you can consistently get those altars, you are in a good position to come back. The one downside being, of course, that triple altar, which if you're behind, you really can't come back. That's my only problem with that map. And I think if they fix that, it is perfect. And I also have to disagree with another point you had made before.
Okay.
No, I have had I have had a couple games where it's one of these crazy ass quick match games where the enemy team gets like the quote unquote like perfect team.
Yeah.
And I've got this team of like Lily, Abathur, and 3 specialists. That was actually a team.
Oh, God.
And we won because we had Asmodan, Nazebo, and Zagara, and we had all the keeps down.
Oh, really?
We couldn't win a fucking objective
Yeah.
to save our lives, but we had all the keeps.
Yeah.
Like consistently. And we were just firing all the time. So then they had to make the decision of retaking their keep, or eventually we were getting objectives because they had to take the keys back. Because even if they got an objective,
it wouldn't do it.
They wouldn't
one
do
bullet.
Anything. Yeah, it would be one bullet. So I think there is a lot of varieties in team comps that you can do. You can have a lot of fun with this map, and I think it's a really fun 5-stack map. I think like if you are with your friends and you can coordinate and you can consistently win team fights.
And that's another good point because I haven't done a lot of 5 stacks on that map personally. I have only done a lot of dual queues on that map or triple queues, and that's okay, but it's not always the best. I also haven't gotten it a lot, so
I've played it 7 times. I have a 57% win rate on it. Like it's weird. Just since we're on this topic of this map, though, some things to keep in mind. The map is actually incredibly small, even though it's 3 lanes.
It looks big.
It looks
like
big.
on the mini map. It looks big. It's not.
No, it's small.
It's like as big as spiders, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think it's right about on that same size.
It does not take long to rotate, so if you're by yourself, you are going to die. Like, keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's really easy to gank on the map, too.
Some tips that I've seen that seem to apply really well to this map: don't cross the midline if you don't know where the enemy is.
Don't cross the street.
Similarly, don't take the tunnel if you don't know where the enemy team
Oh
is.
my
Yes.
God, it's the
Oh,
worst
man.
ambush spot known to
Yeah,
man.
seriously.
I have-
The tunnel is a fucking trap.
It's
The
a
Raven
trap.
Lord is not your friend.
No, he isn't.
Never listen to him.
Like, do not take the tunnel unless you've just like unless you know all of them are fighting an objective and you can get there by taking the tunnel. Like you just hearth back, top off, and you hit that tunnel because you see them all there.
Yeah.
If you don't see them all there, you are dead
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're waiting for you
Yeah.
and they're smiling.
Yeah.
I've taken the tunnel one time since the match
It's,
started.
it's almost as good as a misplaced Morales. Like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
the
Oh,
ults,
man.
yeah.
It's like your personal medivac.
Yeah,
to
you're like, hee 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 hee.
Doom.
There's like tucking in their bibs and like, we're going to eat these noobs.
But yeah, no, seriously,
Fresh
if you
beef.
don't have an organized team, you will lose.
Yeah.
Because like if there is if one team has a distinct experience advantage, it's because you guys are losing a lot or they're just soaking better than you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I'd love to hear what other people have to say about
Yeah.
this map. I think that there's a lot of varied experiences on this map so far, and I think it has a lot to do with your team comps and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So,
I would agree. I think
And
our conversation here, I think, highlights that.
Mhm.
We all have
I
a
think-
very different view on this map.
yeah, so that's cool. Awesome. Have a great week in the Nexus, everybody.
This show is part of the Frozen Fox Radio Network. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Frozen Fox Radio. Also, visit us at frozenfoxradio.com for information about this and all of our other shows. Frozen Fox Radio, cool things for you to listen to.